May I have your attention? May I please have your attention? Super Sundays. Yeah, baby. We're back at it again. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Sir Hill Speaks Super Sundays. I'm glad that you're here. I wanted to take a moment to tell you guys how much I appreciate you. We've been doing these shows for months now, and you guys have been showing up consistently as we take on and we tackle different challenges and different topics. So I appreciate it. But here's what we're trying to do going forward. We want to grow this audience to people who need to hear content like this. And so we need your help. How can you help us? That's a fantastic question. Be sure to make sure you hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell for all of the content that we have, particularly Super Sundays. All right, guys, sit back, relax, enjoy. Make sure you invite somebody to Sir Hill Speaks Super Sundays. We're getting ready to go in. We're going to have a good time. Happy Sunday, everybody. Let's get to the show.
Me go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OG on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 0 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OG on them. I OD. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 0 degrees on them. Countdown, levitate, going up, elevate. Watch me demonstrate. On time, never late. I grind, celebrate. No pump, fake, hesitate. I've been scoring every day. Champagne, Perrier. Since 9-3, been in the box, now I'm stepping up to home. Like straight out the sand lot, now I'm plotting on the globe. I work hard, I show love, that karma steady growing. Got this far, I go hard, let God take control. I was starving skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam, blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater. Yo, go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OG on them. I OD, apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 0 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OG on them. I OD, apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 0 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Smile good, skin clear. This here my year. Hey, look up here. This here my tier. Same fit 4 days. I grind 4 ways. I play no games. All me, no blame. On the wave, my own wave. Can't stop my shine. In the lane, my own lane. Can't stop my grind. 40 yard in the V12 like 1.5. At 19, I clear 19 in a month, no lie. Oh God. And I was starving skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam, blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater. Yo, go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OG on them. I OD, apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 0 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OG on them. I OD, apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 0 degrees on them. 500 degrees.
Likes up, everybody. The show's getting ready to start.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Lost in Translation podcast, Sunday edition of Super Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have a fantastic show waiting for you. We have an all-star cast combined with our forces together to come together like Voltron, baby. So y'all better get ready. We got something for you. I want to give a few thanks to my main man, Black David in the back. He's coming on time like Superman, here to help us work this thing out to give y'all a nice production. You understand what I'm saying? And next of all, I want to thank a few people in the chat. I want to welcome everybody to come in, but I'm going to make sure that we get the thanks out of the way so we can welcome everybody in for those on the podcast. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that we get a greetings out of the way. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another sensational Sunday like no other. Get ready to elevate your weekend with the Sir Hill Speaks Super Sunday podcast. Join us as we embark on an inspiring journey of wisdom, wit, and wonderment with the one and only Sir Hell Speaks. Every Sunday, we're diving deep into the realms of knowledge, laughter, and thought-provoking conversation. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee, lounging in your favorite armchair, or out on a refreshing Sunday stroll, this podcast is your perfect companion. Get ready to be enlightened, entertained, and engaged. So sit back and relax and let Super Sunday Podcast infuse your day with positivity and insight. It's time to kickstart your Sunday in style with Sir Hill Speaks Super Sunday. Very good. I want to go ahead and thank a few people that are coming out in the chat. Lady DeVoe, I see you. How you doing, darling? We got also Miss Elizabeth in the house. Mrs. Said, thank you for joining us. We also got Roots in the house. Who else we got? Oh yeah, my main man, Quiet Storm, the one and only moderator. Lady DeVoe, moderator. Thank you guys for coming out. And we also got Space Entertainment. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up my guests one at a time. Y'all know him as half of a dynamic duo of the Saids, Mr. He Said and Mr. She Said. Let's go ahead and bring him up. The one and only, Mr. Harris. How you doing, sir?
All is well, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thank
you for having me. How are you? How was your week?
It was good, sir. Next, we want to bring up, y'all seen her on Black Man Unfiltered show. She has her own show on Saturday. We like to call her from Jenny from the block. Y'all put your hands together for the one and only, Miss Jenny. How you doing, Miss Jenny?
Hello, everyone.
Good to see you. Welcome. How are you?
Likewise. It's always a pleasure.
Good to see you. Now, it wouldn't be a Sir Hell Speaks podcast without this guy. Y'all know him as the Reckless One. Put your hands together for the one and only Reckless Ray De Niro.
What's good, everybody? How we doing?
What's going on, Ray? How was your weekend, sir?
Hey, man, better than I deserved. Better than I deserved.
So glad to have you, my guy. Welcome. And last but not least, y'all, I'm going to introduce y'all to the one and only, the one who encouraged me to go ahead and start this thing up. Y'all don't know her, but I've been knowing her for a long time. She's the one that poked me in the back and said, you know what, you need to get off your tail and do this thing. So guess what? I'm going to welcome y'all to the inspiration, to the Lost in Translation podcast. Y'all put your hands together for the one and only Lana Love. What's happening, darling?
Hey, how are you, Jay?
Good. Well, tonight's show, we're going to be talking about this dating madness that we got going on today, y'all. I don't know about y'all, but I want to make sure that we take care of business. What is going on? First, I want to make sure that everybody's okay. I'm going to start at the top with Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris, how was your weekend, sir?
All is well, sir. All is well. Thank you for asking.
Good. Miss Jenny, how was your weekend, darling?
Oh, my goodness. My weekends are always so busy, but this one, man, it should be even busier.
Indeed. Come on, Ray, talk to us, man. How was your weekend, sir?
Oh, mine was wonderful. My weekend was great, man. Relaxed, got out, got active. I'm good.
Good. Lana, you? How was your weekend?
It was great. Yesterday was a down day. Today was running errands. So as long as I get my one down day, I'm good. It was a great weekend.
Good. Well, today's show, y'all, is called Protecting Your Tea. And if y'all hadn't figured it out yet from the notes, it stands for time, energy, and attention. I don't know if y'all seen this or not, but we got a problem going on with the dating world today. I don't know if y'all paid attention on Facebook and all these other places where they have these lists out of places where people can and can't go and eat where they can't eat. You know what I'm saying? So first of all, we want to make sure that we set the table, and we want to let everybody know we're actually going to dive into some things and some terms that you've always felt, but you really didn't know the name of it. So tonight we will be educating and entertaining tonight. So that thing that you couldn't really put a name to, guess what? I found it. I did a little bit of research for you guys, and we're going to get into it. David, we're going to set the table first. Could you do me a favor and play that first video of Miss Oyster Girl? We're going to show this is the dating atmosphere that we're in so far. So David, go ahead and run that for me, man.
I love this video.
I've never seen it, so I'm like, Miss Oyster Girl.
It's hilarious.
Blow it up, David, so they can see it, man. There we go.
Hey, y'all. Someone told me to look at this.
Y'all, so today I linked with this nigga I met a few weeks ago out with my friends. This nigga been texting me for weeks talking to himself. Why I didn't block him, bitch, I don't know. But today I was bored and I had time, so he texted me like, "Can we meet for drinks?" And I'm like, "Yeah, meet me here." They got the best fucking oysters in Atlanta, like hands down. So I'm like, yes, I can get some content. Come on, it's so good.
Damn. Yo.
Y'all want to
Damn.
He was looking at me crazy. I didn't give a fuck.
Can you just imagine going on a date and the whole time she's just filming herself eat? She's so.
I'm like, baby, you invited me out. I'm gonna eat, and I was coming anyway. But I ain't gonna lie. Now I wouldn't have did all that, but I did do all that. It was so good. I was not expecting it to be that good. It was just so good. Like I had to. It was so good. So after that, I'm like, baby, what's next? What I'm about to eat?
What are you about to eat? You already ate half the fucking ocean. Who's paying for this? Is he paying for this? If you're paying, if this is truly $60, it don't bother me as much. But then you're done. You're finished. You're finito. Some people wouldn't want to pay for this if you order this much. Like I don't care if you ask me or I asked you. Like you're not gonna order the whole menu.
What's next? What I'm about to eat? These potatoes, they were so good. And the crab cakes, everything was so good. 10, baby. Why the fuck this bitch ass nigga say he going to the bathroom and never come back? The fuck? I'm like, hold the fuck on. It's been like 10, 20, 30 minutes, bitch. What the fuck this nigga ate? Had to end up grabbing a tab, bitch. Nigga left me with his little one fucking drink. Yeah, bitch. I'm so glad bitch keep me some money, cause what? That was crazy to me.
Crazy?
And I said, bitch, you run out on the tab. He's talking about, I'm offering you to drink. The fuck are you talking about, bitch?
What did you expect?
All right,
No,
David.
he
That's
could have
enough.
at least
That's
excused
enough.
himself.
That's enough,
That's
David.
rude as fuck.
That's
Woo.
enough. That's enough. That's enough. Y'all, pardon the language.
Oh,
Just gonna take that
Lord.
out. Oh my goodness. We're gonna start at the top with Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris, what do you think about this particular situation, sir?
Yeah, like you said, unfortunately, it's very indicative of the dating market nowadays. Very unfortunate. But what's more, unfortunate is the way that it's really an uphill battle to try to date a young lady. If it wasn't already when we were chivalrous and back in our day when dating was a thing, but now, this ninja should have blocked them, ban all of these things. It's like even if, I was a good guy, there was gonna come a point where I was gonna be all of these things, and indicative of that, the no discipline as far as eating all of those oysters. I understand they're good, but maybe you double back by yourself or something, but no coof, lack of a ladylike presence, her vernacular, the language she chose to use, the cadence, just all of it, I wouldn't be able to deal with. Just the baby and the noises, like just it's too much. And it's really insensitive when they make it like you have to take it or leave it. And
Right.
that's all we saying as men is we don't have to take it or leave it. And there's a upper echelon of men that know their worth, and you can't be mad at those men. So very unfortunate that this is the climate and in the mindset of people approaching a union. It's only unique to see what type of union that forms.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. I agree. Jenny, what are your thoughts on this?
This is why fathers are just so inconsequential. I think that's the word I'm looking for, right? Inconsequential.
Right.
Because I remember being a kid and my dad, he warned me about this. He would tell me, like, we would go out to eat, or like not we would go out to eat, but like, he would tell me, if a person invites you out, and even if they say, get whatever you want, you do not order the most expensive thing on the menu. And as a child, I was like, why? You know, I felt like don't bother saying that if you don't mean it. And they say get what you want. So if I want the most expensive thing, then that's what I'm gonna get. But that's how children think, because you're thinking about yourself. You're looking out for your own best interest. You're not looking out for the other person. Because the only reason people say that is because they're trying to be nice. And so you return the nice favor by being considerate and respectful. And so, you know, I don't know this woman, of course, but it would not be a bad bet to say that there was no father in her upbringing. Right. And so, you know, as a grown woman now, you know, I would never take advantage. Well, I mean, I'm married, but you know, I would never do this. I would never pull the kind of stuff on the guys that would take me out. And especially with that situation, because he explicitly said, I want to get drinks, not I want to buy you, you know, the 48 oysters. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And so, you know, and that's just, you know, showing the fact that she did not care about him. And she said that, and he should have picked up on that she was not interested. And so she was going to disrespect him. But that says a lot more about her than it does about him, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Ray, what are your thoughts, man? She said that she was talking to him in the DMs for weeks and months, and finally gave him a chance when she got hungry, man.
She said he was talking to himself.
Yeah.
This is a classic example of a mark. And this is a classic example of why, gentlemen, if you're out here dating, you don't isolate on one chick, especially one that you got to talk to yourself in the DMs. You having a conversation with yourself, bro. Like, what are we talking about? What are we like? That is the epitome of pathetic. Like, I'm not like, I feel bad for dude. Actually, I don't feel bad because, like, at least he figured it out when he got there. But I'm like, this is how this gets set up. Like, you talking to yourself in a chick's DMs for weeks. Just you and you. And then she stopped in to say, come get me some oysters, bro.
Right.
Like, it's indicative of what the dating market is for a certain echelon of men. I can't relate because ain't nobody like, bro, I would have slapped that whole table over. That whole table would have been, we would have rearranged that whole table, bro.
It didn't look like he finished his drink either.
No, because he was appalled. Could you imagine? Like, I need to know. Listen, first of all, you're gonna be in the DMs talking to yourself for weeks. Like, I need to know how big this chick is, bro. Because this sounds like a big bitch. Like, I'm not lying, bro. Like, she ate all like, this dude been in the DMs of a hippopotamus wildebeest for weeks talking to himself and got upset when this behemoth of a human came out and ate their fill, bro. You knew she was hungry. You knew she was hungry. Ain't nobody putting down that many oysters and then going, oh, what am I going to eat next, girl? Like, what are we talking about? That was the part that got me, because, like, as soon as I saw that fifth plate come out, and then she said, now, what are we going to eat? I'm like, oh, this bitch is big. like she... Like, what is she, like, harboring a vortex to hell where she came from? Is she feeding the demons? Like, what is going on here? Who eats like that? Like, she eats like I eat. Like, good God. I'm still growing, by the way. I just want to put that out there. But that's how I'm eating after I get done working out, bro, because I'm hungry, bro. And she just woke up like that. Like, that's crazy to me. I mean, it's definitely... The dating market, having been back in it, is interesting. It's interesting. Like, I ain't seen no shit like that, because honestly, if I saw her at any place that I go to eat dinner, I would be upset personally at the visual alone. But also, like, I'm just like, bro, I don't like being around where trash is. It's just me personally. But for some of these dudes that are getting dog walked by everything, including the wildebeest, man, it's a tough life. And, like, that seemed like, I mean, if that dude, the dude that was in the beginning of the video that she was walking behind, like, that seemed like a well put together young man. What excuse do you have to be beta orbiting a wildebeest? Is it that bad? like, bro, look, if it's that bad for you where you beta orbiting wildebeest, you need to get another job and get your weight up, bro. Like, it gets better. like you better off going to work. Like, just go to work. Go work harder. Go work harder. Get yourself a sock and some lubricant and just make do until you got something to wear. Like, that's not your life, bro, because that's sad. That is really sad. And I'm ridiculous. It makes me not feel good for him. It makes me not feel good for dating. Like, Jesus, like, it's just a real sad scenario.
Yeah, at some point, man, you have to have some kind of self-respect. I really don't think that young man has self-respect for himself. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. Lana, what do you think about this particular situation? You saw what happened. You saw the oyster fiasco. What do you think of this particular situation? What's your thoughts?
Okay, it was overkill. I mean, like, overkill is an understatement, right? But I usually try to drill it back much further from what I'm seeing, and I want to know, like, how did we even get here? Like, how did you even get on this date with this woman, right? I think that we need to do a better job at vetting before we even sit in front of somebody and have a date. That's just how I approach it. I've had gentlemen want to go out on a date, and I'm like, hey, look, I can sit here and talk to you for weeks before I decide I want to sit with you in front of you. I have to know that I want to have a meal with you and sit across from you. I can buy my own food, you know, but so when I see these things, it's really unfortunate. I'm hearing that that's what's really out there. And sometimes I think that we're maximizing the minimum because I'm not that type of woman. But I'm hearing that a lot of guys are having these experiences. So I just say to you, just make sure you're vetting it out. Ask the right questions. Set your boundaries before you go out. See if she's willing to go Dutch.
Oh, no, they're not finna do no 50-50.
Well,
not in these streets.
Well, that will probably tell you a lot about the person if she's not willing to pay for her own meal or even buy you a meal sometimes.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So here's my thing. Even though we're supposed to say, hey, this guy's supposed to vet or whatever, what happens when it's the first date? You know what I'm saying? You're vetting. So David, let's go ahead and go to the Great Cheesecake Factory debacle. And this is what really started it. So David, run that beautiful bean footage of the Great Cheesecake debacle.
I've heard about this one. I haven't seen it though.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one either. I live under a rock.
Prepare yourself. It's a doozy.
Are you serious? I heard about it.
Yes.
Let's see what's up with this.
Let me just get the door for you.
Okay.
He's such a gentleman.
He got me at the Cheesecake Factory, y'all. I ain't getting out this car.
Oh, wow.
It's already a red flag. Her breasts are out.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yes. Would you want me to open the door for you? Okay. Are you're recording me? Yeah. Yeah. This is the Cheesecake Factory. This is the Cheesecake Factory, y'all. What's the problem with that? This is a chain restaurant. Who takes someone that looks like this to a chain restaurant? You want to talk about it? I'm fine with talking about it, even in front of them. Oh, yeah, I want to talk about it. Yeah. Come on, get up on in the car. Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So, yes, let's talk about it. About it. So you expect a man to go all out on the first date. Is that right? I mean, you're supposed to. When you take out a beautiful woman and you're courting her, because I get courted. So you're courting her, right? You're supposed to take care of her. You're supposed to cover her. You're supposed to protect her, cherish her, treat her well, right? Yeah. That's what you're supposed to do. I agree. I went into this date as I expect, with the expectations for myself to keep you safe, you know?
to respect you, to pay for your food, of course, pick you up, of course, and just treat you like a gentleman, which I believe I have done.
I mean, you've been pretty nice, but I mean,
and then
Cheesecake Factory.
I, on the other hand, have certain expectations for a girl I go out with on the first date. I expect her to be respectful too. I expect her to be cooperative, and at least
what did I do that wasn't cooperative?
Well, I mean, like even like when we were walking to the car, you wouldn't put your hand around my arm or anything like that, or hold my hand or anything like that.
I mean, it's too early for that.
Okay,
I don't know you.
I can respect that. I can respect that. Okay. When I got to your apartment to pick you up, you didn't want to invite me in. I can respect that too. We're not
again.
I don't know there
yet.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
And then, but
I mean, I feel like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do as a woman.
But
I got myself all made up.
There's nothing wrong with the Cheesecake Factory, right?
Yes, there's a lot wrong with the Cheesecake Factory.
Okay, well, look at my planner where we were gonna go originally.
See, now that's where we should have went. All right there. Call him.
No.
What do you mean no?
See, I specifically told you both yesterday and this morning that I'd come to pick you up at 4 p.m. Right? And I got to your place at 4 p.m. You didn't even come downstairs for another hour, and so I was waiting downstairs for an hour. Right?
But I wasn't expecting for work to take me so long. I got home a little late, and like I said, I don't know you well enough to invite you up into my apartment, and that is not possible.
And that's why I'm saying, I'm thinking, okay, if we're not there in the relationship to, meet at your apartment, then maybe we're not ready in a relationship for such a nice, fancy restaurant as Aria, especially if I'm paying for the whole thing, which I'm still willing to do. I would have been, but if we're late, I told you twice.
It wasn't that late.
We literally left your place at the time the reservation was supposed to be. And I specifically said 4 because maybe we could get there early and even have some time to get to know each other on the way there and while we're in the parking lot.
I mean,
waiting for a reservation.
We can still get to know each other. Isn't there another restaurant you can call that, the equivalent to that? I mean,
I literally
you don't understand. Look at me. I cannot go in the Cheesecake Factory.
There's nothing wrong with
I will die. That's embarrassing.
Listen, as I said, I have very specific certain expectations for that. I can tell it's not gonna be there. And maybe we're not right for each other. So respectfully, I'm gonna just drop you off at home.
Oh no, he didn't.
Yeah, I'm up.
So you just want to call it a night? I mean, isn't there some kind of compromise or something? Ladies, can you believe this?
I'm sorry, y'all.
He just pulled out of the parking space.
If I don't feel respected, I am not gonna go through with the rest of the day.
Well, I mean, you are serious. You're really leaving.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't want this place anyway, right?
I mean, I understand that I was late. I understand that. I understand that I could have been a bit more cooperative. You made some good points. That's why I'm willing to compromise. Are you sure you want to go home?
I don't have a lot of rules. I don't have a lot of expectations for a first date, but I've already said them, and you've broken every one.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. We're dropping you off home.
All right, whatever.
My man.
Wow.
I mean, I guess I understand. You got to do what you got to do.
He should have wrapped that up sooner, though.
Yeah.
No, we went that far, honey.
All right, David.
Reasoning with this thing.
That's enough, David. That's enough, David. Listen. Wow. She wanted to compromise at the end. Let me get a thought. We're gonna go backwards this time. Lana, what do you think in this situation?
Okay, so when I heard about this, I had not seen the video, and I actually responded to it. I'm like, what's the deal with all this Cheesecake Factory crap and all these restaurants? That's like pretty much everything you would do on a first date is on that list. So I kind of felt like I actually had a discussion with a friend, and he said, this thing is real. We went down through this whole spill. It became a very, very big debate. And so as I'm looking at this, I'm still wondering, is this real? Because I know people have these platforms and they do things for likes and followers. So I'm like, did these two stage this? Because this is just out of control. This is ludicrous. But this is real, he should have wrapped that up in the first few seconds. And I'm kind of wondering, like, what did you stand to gain from a woman that's got everything out on the first date? I mean, were you trying to buy her goodies? Are you looking for a wife? What is it that you're trying? What are we doing here? Where did you meet this woman? Because this is not your this couldn't be the average woman that we have out here in the market, right?
Well, then again, he is from another ethnicity. So
is this for real? This is what we got.
I tell you what, let's pretend that it's real. Yes, let's pretend that it's real.
I have a hard time believing that this is real.
I mean, it's not that hard to believe, dude. Like, it's hard to get black women to be nice to you in public, bruh. like, let's be honest, bro. like a smile and like a head nod, like you have offended them and fucked their day up. Like, this is exceptionally average.
I guess because the girlfriends that I have, we're not like that. I don't hang around. I know these women exist, but in my world, this is limited, and I'm hearing that this is what's really out there. I'm sorry, guys. It's a shocker to me.
Now, here's the thing. That's the reason why I brought you and Jenny up here, because a lot of times we have women on the other end of the spectrum, and they get all the shine and all the going back and forth and the rah, rah, rah. I wanted people to see normal women that they would probably run into on a regular basis. However, you normal women need to know that this behavior exists in the real world. And I'm going to go ahead and lean over to Ray this time. Ray, give us your perspective on this particular situation. Is this indicative of what you're seeing in these YouTube and these dating streets?
In the YouTube streets, 100%. In the dating streets, no, because I keep paywalls between me and trash. Understood. Like, y'all already know I'm an ardent classist. I believe in that shit. so I'm just not going to be around where people who act like this are. But yeah, no, it is indicative. I mean, as you're passing through in daily life, like, just because, like, I refuse to navigate any differently than I navigate with everyone else, because it's easier to treat everyone the same and be conditioned to have a certain way that you navigate versus like filtering for certain people. But like with this echelon of woman in these streets, when you like, they can't even take base level chivalry, like being nice, holding a door, smiling. Like, they're offended. They're walking around stone faced, like they're ready to throw down, have like a fist fight with somebody. They have attitudes. They expect the world, and they get mad when they don't get what they want. It's basically, you're dealing with adult age children. Like, it's dealing with a level of entitlement. You're dealing with a lot of selfishness. Fortunately for me, like, if you carry yourself and you're on your square and you carry yourself as such, you'll filter out most of these women, because like, they know that you're not going to deal with their bullshit. And then they'll just disqualify themselves, usually with an insult. It's really funny because like, these chicks navigate the exact same way that dudes do. Oh, you don't want me? Well, fuck you then. You must be gay. Yo mama black. Like, no, I just don't like yo ass. Like, and I can date whoever the fuck I want, because I have that ability. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it is what it is. But that's what you get out here. And like, they just go around dog walking these dudes. And like, the dudes that are stuck either from a confidence level or they're just not there yet. So this is what they have access to. They do have to deal with these women. And honestly, these women are the ones who are creating the monsters that later on in life the chicks are complaining about. Because how many times are you going to get broken down, spit on, disrespected, taken out, and being expected to buy everything on the damn menu or you ain't shit? Like, after you worked your hard-earned money and you're utilizing your time, which could be used to make more money, to be with this woman, before these dudes just snap and end up being Raw Dog Ronnie, the Pookie, everybody that we complain about. I'm just gonna lie and I'm gonna bust you down and get what I want and get out. Like, it's interesting out. It's like I said, man, the dating market, and like, what's your name, ma'am, who went before me?
Lana.
Like Lana was saying, like, if you can insulate yourself, then you don't really have to deal with these women unless you're choosing to, which is one of the things that I always defer back to, especially with these YouTube talking points and these dudes out here. If you got it like that, how are you even around these chicks? How do you see them? You know, the only time I see these chicks are at Quick Trip. The only time. And it's only if I'm at the Quick Trip that's on the edge of the hood. That's the only time I see them. Everywhere else, everyone's pleasant, regardless of what color they are. I'm like, so you gotta be, if you got it like that, that means you can afford to be in any space that you want, and you're choosing to go into a trash bin looking for diamonds. Because we know where these women are. We know where they frequent. And you'll look at these dudes online that are complaining about these chicks, and they in ratchet clubs with bitches twerking.
That's true.
What do you expect? She twerking in the club with no clothes on. You think that's a wife? Right. You wondering why she not acting like a wife when you try to marry that? You found a hoe and thought you was gonna make it something else.
You thought she was special.
These dudes out here trying to turn dogs into cats. Like, no, these ain't trans women, bruh. Like, you got better chance turning a dude into a chick than turning one of these hoes into a wife, bro. Like, let's be honest.
Hilarious.
Like, there's at least a surgery for one of these. The other one just isn't gonna fucking happen. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, you just deal with people where they at. If you see her bent over twerking, bro, assume that's her lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, newsflash. Like, if you see her on a street corner, assume she a hoe. I don't see how this is hard. Unfortunately, in this video specifically, that man is of another culture. And in the follow-ups, because like I did follow this story, in the follow-up interviews, because I'm 50-50 on, I don't know if it was fake or not, but like, he's of another culture and he's trying to date here. And, you know, he's from a culture where they like bigger women. Like, that's cool. That's cool. There's somebody for everybody. So like, they can stop approaching me. That's great. He's for you. But he's trying to navigate in America with his cultural standards and then dealing with American women, which is also an issue. Like, I mean, and these dudes will come over here and get dog walked for a little bit, and then they'll realize, they'll be like, oh, American women are just for fun, and like, we're not going to marry them. Like, it's kind of what it is. It's unfortunate, but like, that's the other way that he specifically got roped into that. Also, Lana, they met at a bar. So
with their breast out too.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Ray. I want to hear from the married folks. Mr. Harris, I want to hear from you, sir. What is your perspective on this particular situation with the Cheesecake Factory, sir?
You know, another indicative situation of dating this society. It really doesn't matter to me whether it's real or not per se, because everything's real in my mind, because I know it's happened somewhere in the world to somebody at some time. I'm gonna run down my list real quick. The audacity, the audacity, the audacity. You know, chain restaurant, man. Gordon Ramsay's a chain restaurant.
You better say it.
Delicious, delicious. So, you know, and the attitude, you know, let's talk about it. Remember that attitude in the beginning? Yeah, let's talk. Like she was a teacher and you got an F. Like, let's talk about it, Billy. Get in this damn car. And supposed to. She had a list of what he was supposed to do. You supposed to this, and you supposed to. Who beautiful she said she was. Self-proclamation. I'd have stopped her there. You said you was beautiful. Let me get a list of the people that confirm. And I'm supposed to. What do you mean? What does that look like on the other side of the spectrum? What are you supposed to do for him? That's what she should have ended that with. You supposed to do this, this, and this, and I'm supposed to do this, this, and this.
Right.
She didn't do that. It was only his side. That's you've been pretty nice. You've been pretty nice. Again, he can't give a self-proclamation. He said, I've been nice to you. I've been courteous. I've been everything I think a gentleman. You've been pretty nice. Now she gets to weigh in. And this is the superiority and the audacity that I speak of. It can't be one-sided. It's just so insensitive. His expectations, he started to voice them. Her face changed. She got defensive. Too early. It was too early for you to come into my house. It's too early. I don't know you yet. Again, what does that look like vice versa? Can I say it's too early for me to go into my wallet? It's too early for the upper echelon of restaurants. I feel like I got all made up. Like, you notice that the things that they do for us pertain to them. I went to the gym. I got my body all nice. I put on makeup. I got all pretty for you. What did you actually do for me? You did just like on Valentine's Day, you go buy the negligee for you, but it's for me. It's so insensitive that they think we so simple. But when men say, give me the remote and a sandwich and some sex because I'm simple, if I was a girl, I would probably run with it too. He made initial plans. Like an hour late, now she understand. I understand. But it was back on her. My work. My apartment. Me, me, I. That's all I hear. She was late. She said, oh, well. Oh, well.
No accountability.
I mean, we can go to another restaurant of the same equivalence. Like, do you hear the dictation? Do you hear the control? Al Bundy was a genius. No, ma'am. The National Organization of Men Against Amazonian Masterhood. We're not having it. I don't understand. Again, now he gets masculine. Now she don't understand. That's another red sign. Men, don't deal with women that don't understand. I don't get it. That means you are clueless, and I don't need to be with you. I need to be with people who understand. Movers and shakers. So all of that plausible deniability, I don't know. I live under a rock. I don't know about everything that everybody else in the world knows about right now. Current events. Because in kindergarten, we had current events. Bring a newspaper clipping or something going on now. So, don't come to me with that. I don't know. Plausible deniability. I don't even hear it. You sound like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Embarrassing.
Embarrassing. I don't care what people think. Again, I don't want to go in, this restaurant because it would be embarrassing coming from the people who say, I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what nobody think. I don't dress for. And I'm gonna land my plane with this. Pepe Le Pew was another genius. He chased her for 28 minutes. And the last 3 minutes, she was chasing him. And that's exactly what happened right there. He was chasing her. And when he put his foot down, it became Pepe Le Pew. She wanted him now. Now I'm taking your ass home. Kudos to him. Fellas, learn from that. You are worthy. You are worth it. But until you see it, they won't see it either. So I'm sorry I was so long-winded, but she gave me so much information to work with. Thank y'all.
I appreciate your perspective.
So
thank you, Mr. Harris. And I'm gonna press your button, sir, because I know you got it.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
It's a shame. Jenny, what do you think about this particular situation?
Oh man. I see stuff like this, kind of frequently because I like to watch red pill content and dating content.
Right.
But sometimes you come across something that genuinely just leaves you in slack-jawed amazement. I mean, just when you think it can't get any worse, it's like, where do these women get the audacity? Where do they get the gall to? I mean, even if she was Giselle Bundchen, even if she was Cindy Crawford, like, oh, I look like this. I'm so fine. I'm so beautiful. You took me to a chain restaurant. Yeah, you took me somewhere that's so good that they're all over the country. You took me somewhere that has a reputation of being good and has a reputation of being nice. Like that's how you get a chain restaurant. Like, just that didn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that concept.
Right.
But of course, I always got to bring it back to God's word. And I couldn't help but think of this verse where it is Matthew 7:6. And it says, "Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you." And R-E-N-D, rend, means to tear. And so what that verse is saying is that, don't give things that are good to people who aren't going to appreciate them, or else they're just going to stamp them under their feet and they're going to, turn around and tear you up too. And this woman, she just was so self-centered and so rude. It's like, first off, you have an attitude. Second off, you're being rude. Third off, you're being illogical. Because it's like, you want me to take you to, I think she said Ari. I mean, I don't know what that is, but I've heard of that.
Yeah, that's like top of the line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's like, okay, you want me to take you to some place, some 5-star Michelin restaurant, but you don't even trust me enough to let me in your apartment? Like, like, I don't understand this. And it's like, but you're still in his car, wouldn't it be more logical to not get in his car if you don't trust him in your apartment? Because at least in your apartment, the layout. You know what's in there. He doesn't know what's in there. In his car, he can have anything in there. He can take you anywhere. So that doesn't make any sense either. And then another verse that came to mind is where is it? Oh yes, 1 Peter 5:6. And it says, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time." And something else that she mentioned is that, well, you need to be doing this, and you need to be protecting me, and you need to be providing for me. Excuse me, girlfriends, first dates don't get wife privileges. Okay? So I don't know where that was coming from.
That's right, Jenny. Hit us with the word. Let them know. They don't get white privileges on the first date. Thus saith the Lord.
Yes. Goodness. And so, yeah, I mean, that was just a masterclass in how not to act on a date, Right. This is like a textbook example. Okay, make sure you do everything that she did not. Make sure you don't. If you just don't do anything that she did, then you should get a second date.
Right.
And I just don't understand. Like, it's not even just a misunderstanding of men; it's a misunderstanding of people. Because what woman would want to hang out with you and be your friend if you have that kind of attitude? What kind of employer would want to hire you if you have that kind of attitude? Where are you going to go in life and get anywhere with that kind of sour grapes attitude of, I'm so good, I deserve the best? Like, what? People have to work and earn good things. You don't just walk in life and think that you're just going to get the high echelon stuff. Like, I don't know. I feel sorry for men. Like Naval lady was saying.
Yeah.
That I don't just don't get it. I don't know where these women just sprouted out from. And I don't see any real change in sight, because the problems that created them are the problems that are still going on.
Right.
But gosh, it is just really crazy and sad.
You're right. I think that most men pretty much want emotional equity going into any situation. You know what I mean? They want to meet you with the same energy. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes we have a hard time, determining the level of energy that we're giving out. If I call you, she called me. If I take you out, she take me out. That type of thing. But sometimes we need to arm ourselves with knowledge. So I'm going to share you what I found while I was doing some research for this. And now it's time for the educational portion of our show. First of all, I ran across this article from Forbes magazine. Forbes magazine gave me a term that I had no idea was an actual term. I knew what it was, but I could not put my finger on it. And today the term is called roaching. And I'm going to share that with you guys. This is the article itself. Yes.
I can't look at it.
That's right, y'all. 3 ways to spot a roach in your dating life, says a psychologist. Let's go ahead and go over this. It says, what is roaching? Roaching is a term used to describe the act of concealing one's involvement with multiple individuals from a new romantic partner. It's not exactly cheating, but rather unintentionally keeping your romantic life shrouded in secrecy. Now, identifying roaching is a potential in a potential partner can be challenging, but here are the warning signs that include, and y'all might want to write this down. Y'all can, I'm gonna put that in the description after the show so y'all can follow up behind it. Number 1, secretive behavior. Your partner is hesitant to reveal details about their personal life, especially regarding other potential romantic interests. Number 2, lack of commitment. They avoid discussions about exclusivity or commitment, leaving you in a state of uncertainty. Inconsistent communication. They may disappear for extended periods of time only to reappear with flimsy excuses. Number 4, unexplained changes in plans. Sudden changes in plans or cancellations without clear reason is also a red flag. Mixed signals. You might feel like you're hanging by a string with your partner sending mixed messages about the nature of your relationship. Roaching can harm one's emotional well-being, erode trust, and cause psychological distress. It often leads to a feeling of inadequacy, betrayal, and heartbreak, which can impede personal growth and future relationships. All right, gang, what's your thought? Lana, we're going to start with you first, and then we're going to go with Miss Jenny, then Ray, and then we're going to head back up to Mr. Harris.
I'm going to say those are a lot of the signs for both men and women to look upon. Energy just doesn't lie, and inconsistency. Thanks for putting the list back up there. The inconsistencies are definitely a red flag. But I think when you meet someone, it's best to have the tough conversations up front and try to discover if you're on the same page and if you should have any further discussions. For example, if I'm seeking marriage and they're just seeking a friend, then, that's that. A lot of times, though, you might find yourself in a situation where they'll tell you that they want a wife, and that's not necessarily what they want because their behavior is inconsistent. And that's when you just have to use some discernment. Your prayer life should be tight, and I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. Ray?
Man, we all roaches out here, bro. Let's keep it a bean, man. No, this only benefits women. And then women are going to lie, and we're dudes, and we're stupid, and we're going to believe it. I'd say 80% of men. I'd say a solid 80. Actually, I'm going to say a solid 90, because we all know that there's only 10% making all these babies. Raw Dog Ronnie, Day Day, Pookie and them. Yeah. So most men come into relationships, and this is before y'all turn them into the monsters that you complain about, ladies. We don't have time to deal with a bunch of chicks. You force us to adapt to the situation at hand to where we got to deal with a bunch of chicks. We don't want to. If you're busy, you really don't have time. You don't have time. But literally, the only way to counteract the girls' game of literally having us up in the phone is food. Literally having us up in the phone as whatever you guys, because y'all have rosters now, is for us to spin plates. We have to deal with multiple chicks now. Otherwise, we're chasing yo ass around, and you're the one screwing around with everybody. We don't have time. We're going to work. Most of us are going to work, and we're going to work a lot to be berated for wanting to go to the Cheesecake Factory, which is freaking awesome, by the way.
It's delicious.
So men are problem solvers, and you have presented us with a problem. So now we all roaches. Welcome to the game. Like it just is what it is. Like if you're obviously date one, you're not going in date one. I don't fucking know you. We're not talking about exclusivity. Like it's just what it is. But there's also, you have to just assume that everyone that you're entertaining is entertaining other people. So you have to act accordingly. It's the prisoner's dilemma. What you going to do? You want us to run around, get dog walked so you can be like, oh, well, you were the food guy. Sorry. I'm going to go get banged out by Ron and Day Day and them. You can wait though, because you're special. Fuck out of here. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm just supposed to be sitting here with my junk in my hand and you out here just getting your back blown out and I'm paying for meals? No. So now everybody is just doing what everybody's doing. Now, and I don't even know that we have to come up with a pejorative term, because two people do not just meet and be like, hey, I saw you from across the way. Like, let's go out on a date. Oh, we're married tomorrow. Like, that shit's not real anymore. That's not even a real scenario that happens. Unless you're Indian and you get an arranged marriage because someone's telling you who you're marrying. It's just not real. Everybody's got their stuff that they're doing until they find their person. And then up until then, game is game. It is what it is. Like, I mean, I don't even think it's necessarily anyone's business if you're dating who else you're dating until you start talking exclusivity, because then you got to let the roster go. Outside of that, like, what does it matter? Because nobody was just like, oh, I was just out here and then I met this other person who was just out here. Chicks don't even want dudes that don't nobody else want. What are we talking about? Like, if nobody wanted Joe Man, like you just going and finding the dude that's dropping, none of y'all are dating the fry cook. Nobody wants his ass either. If you're wanting somebody without options. But women don't want men without options. They don't want a guy who can't get anyone else. You want the guy that's the guy. You want the guy that every other woman wants and every other guy wants to be. That's the reality of the situation. That is the best that you could do, is the guy's guy. The guy that guy. So, like, let's not act like we're all out here just like looking at cigarette butts on the ground going, oh, nobody wants you. I'll take that one. Like, that's not real. So we're going to assume, I mean, everyone is pretty strapping on this panel. Y'all was probably getting pursued by other people when the person you ended up with was pursuing you. Like let's be honest. Like you weren't just sitting at home and going, oh, there he is walking across the street. That's my husband. Like, I mean, unless you were around before the internet. Now, if you're around before the internet, I believe that could have been the case, because there's just no
it was
internet.
A different thing back then.
Yeah, that's different times. But like, you can't take an olden times, like, everybody has access to everything. I can pick this phone up and manifest a bitch. Like, what are you talking about? like no one's not dating anyone. Nobody, like, even ugly chicks. Ugly chicks are dating a lot of people.
They got rosters too now. Believe it.
Yeah, 100%. Their phone blows up at 3:00 in the morning when the night went bad for everybody out at the club. Guaranteed.
Indeed. Jenny, what do you think about this particular situation? These behaviors?
It makes me laugh from the verse that I just referenced that says, give not that which is holy unto the dogs. So I guess we can't give that which is holy unto the roaches either. So going back to this, it reminded me of something I wanted to say about what Lady said earlier about ask a woman whether or not she's willing to go Dutch or not. Yeah. And so I feel like that is kind of a toss-up, because when it came to me, I was not willing to go Dutch with any guy. I was like, I expect for you to take me out, like, you should pay. But I didn't have like these delusions of grandeur where it was like, we have to go. I mean, you know, I would say Cheesecake Factory, but obviously that's for peasants. So I don't know. Like, I don't know if y'all know what the Melting Pot is, but that's like a fancy place we have around here. But I think, you know, I don't know, maybe that's for peasants too. But, you know, it wasn't like you had to take me somewhere fancy. You know, we could just get coffee. We could go to Starbucks. We could go on a walk. But I felt like if you're going to take me out, then I want to be taken out. I want you to pay. But then again, I want traditional treatment because I am a traditional woman.
All right now.
So, I feel like that is to be expected as, that's to be laid out as well. Traditional women get traditional treatment. Modern women get modern treatment. And so, I feel like that should be, part of it too. But yeah, so, I mean, these are not even, I feel like Gen Z, they like to come up with cute new terms for everything that has already existed. And these are just signals, and these are just characteristics of a person that you don't want to be with, at all. It doesn't have to be a roach or whatever, like lack of commitment, I'm not just here dating and floating around like, my time on earth is limited. I'm a finite creature. I want to be moving forward. I don't want to just be stagnating in my life the whole time. I don't have, especially as a woman, the first half of my life is really where I got my skin in the game. I gotta get a husband. I gotta get these children out. I don't have time to waste.
Right. So your intentions better be, on the same page, right?
Yeah. And I would tell guys that, like going up on, panels like this reminds me of when I was dating and looking back on it, like, in hindsight. And it's like, I would tell guys like on the first date, or really early on, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, I want to be married. I want to have a lot of kids. I want to live on a farm.
Right.
And they would tell me like, I'm not into that. I don't want to live my life like that. And I would say, oh, well, we shouldn't waste each other's time. And that just seems like the most logical thing to do. Don't try to twist and manipulate somebody into what you want them to be and try to make, your boyfriend into your own image after your own likeness. And, so just deal with people that are on your same page. And a lot of issues that come along with dating and come along with marriage, can be avoided, because you could marry someone who's everything that you want and just seems like they were just came right down from heaven itself, and your marriage is still going to have problems because they're still a person. But there are just so many issues that can be avoided if you're just clear with someone. Inconsistent communication, like, do not tolerate that under any circumstances. Mixed signals, secretive behavior.
Right.
On a first date, I don't have to give you my cell phone password, sure. But
you wouldn't expect that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, if we're trying to build something, then, I would like, if I call you and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, hey, who are you with? Or, can I come see you or something? I expect there to be a certain level of transparency if we're trying to build together. So all this, don't call me after such and such time and your location is always off and all this stuff, like, I don't like that, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think that falls under secretive behavior. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Mr. Harris, I see your notebook is out, sir. Grace us with your wisdom.
Yeah, man. You always, just want to keep up with the conversation and still, have my points and show respect to the show. I stick to my answer, man. It's indicative of dating in 2023, roaching. Like Ray said, everybody's a roach out here, in my opinion. Everyone talks like politicians. You can't get a straight answer out of anyone anymore. It's like a presidential debate in the whole world. Up doesn't mean up anymore. It depends. Everybody's different. What do it mean to you? All of that, I'm not in lie. Commitment. Phew. People write their own vows now. We've been having conversations on this. It's no commitment there. They can't even define their relationship. Are we talking? Are we dating? Are we courting? Do we go together? Child, please. That's what my wife would say.
Right.
No plans, cause plans take commitment. So ain't nobody falling in line with no plans. Look, she can't even show up to where she wanted to go. Like, unbelievable. Mixed signals, American double talk is what I call it.
Oh
Nope.
yeah.
You ever been here before? No, I only been here once. Wait, what? Wait a minute.
Oh, you're gonna love the second half of the show. I got examples of
And
that.
this is how everybody talk. Everybody talks like this. I call it Stockholm syndrome. Now we got men talking like this. First, it was just women. Now we got men talking like this. Can't get a conversation out. Again, everything could be fake. Like, forget that. Let's have an adult conversation about the situation. It's always about the bigger picture. It's not about these people. We don't care about Will Smith. If you really think we care about these people with the bills we got, you bugging. Just these roadcaster equipments and these laptop. Come on, y'all. Like, it's about the conversation. It's always about the bigger picture. So I think we should have that, and that's indicative of dating. Like Sister Jenny just said, like, be more intentional, be more purposeful, ask follow-up questions, ask intangible questions, have intangible conversations, not about who's paying, not about what kind of car you drive, about how sassy it is or zesty or whatever y'all calling it. Let's talk about these children, family. How about morals, goals, and if our intentions line up? Let's talk about that.
Absolutely.
And I'll land my plane right there. Sorry for being so long-winded.
No. It's always a pleasure. We appreciate your wisdom, sir. Thank you so much. So my thing is, how do we combat that? Let's go. The first one that we notice is that there's a fear of intimacy and commitment. Roaching often stems from a fear of intimacy and commitment, where then individuals are hesitant to become emotionally entangled, is that word again, or shoulder the weight of the vulnerability that comes with committed relationships. This fear drives them to engage in roaching as it means to shield themselves from impending emotional challenges, maintaining a level of detachment, I see that before, while exploring multiple romantic interests. If you recognize this fear in intimacy and commitment in your own behavior, consider these healthy alternatives. One, try taking it slow. Everybody want to rush into relationships, y'all. Just slow it down a little bit. Give yourself a time to breathe and think. Now, allow your relationship to develop naturally by taking them at a comfortable pace. Research indicates that a slower relationship tempo leads to higher relationship quality. Ain't that what we want, y'all? We want quality, not quantity. Avoid the pressure to rush into commitment and instead focus on gradually building trust and intimacy over time. Embrace vulnerability. Instead of avoiding commitment, work on embracing emotional vulnerability. This involves addressing past traumas, which we know we don't like to do, or attachment issues through therapy, self-reflection, and learning to openly and honestly communicate with your partner about fears and insecurities. Mr. Harris, what do you think about this particular situation? Sometimes people display these fear intimacy, and they also gave us some examples of trying to take it slow and embracing vulnerability. What do you think about that in your experience?
I mean, they gave the perfect solutions, open and honest. I mean, honesty is the best medicine and the most operative. If you're not honest with the person that you claim to love out of everybody else you could have picked on this planet, then that says more about you. You definitely got to start there, and be able to display that vulnerability. And I know it takes a lot. I know, us as men are really hesitant to be vulnerable, but you have to get to that point. And I can't just say, vet, because obviously we can't even pick boyfriends and girlfriends. So I know we can't pick therapists. It's going to be hard. So try to speak with an elder and see if you can get some wisdom from an outside source that has a bird's eye view, outside looking in, so to speak, to be able to vet better, because just us vetting on our own hasn't been working, and it doesn't seem like we're open and as honest as we can be. But that would be my suggestion.
Thank you, sir. Jenny, how do you feel about this? These tips to take out the fear and intimacy and commitment. It says try taking it slow and embracing vulnerability. What do you think about those tips?
I'm all for embracing vulnerability, because I think that a lot of times people they pretend to be a lot stronger than they are, and you want to set a precedent in your relationship. And so if you set a precedent of saying like, I can handle anything, I'm made of steel, then it's going to be a lot harder for your partner to take you seriously when you talk later on about things that are really bothering you, or you might even try to convince yourself of that. And it's like you're bottling things up and you're holding things in, and then you lash out one day. And it's like, it's not good. And so I think that being vulnerable is good. I cannot, however, vouch for taking it slow. Me personally, I got married in 5 months. So I feel like taking it slow is overrated.
Well, let me ask you this. Since let me ask you a question. Did you embrace vulnerability quicker, which allowed you to go faster? Is that what happened in your particular situation?
I would say so. Yeah,
Okay.
we had like, really big important conversations about like Mr. Said was saying about like religion, morals, values, kids, family life, where do we want to be, how do we want our lives to kind of unfold. And so my husband, he was like, a few months in, he was like, yeah, like I think that we should get married. And I was like, what? I had never heard that before. So, it's just like, oh, well, yeah. I mean, what are we waiting for? I guess there's that kind of attitude. Like if you know everything you feel like you need to know, then what are you waiting for?
That's right. I think Mr. Jenny knew exactly what he had. He was like, oh, we got to seal the deal on this hand.
Yeah. He knew what he was
I
doing.
ain't finna waste no time with this hand. Let me go on and holler at you for a minute. What's your ring size? Is that how it went down? Is that how it went down?
My goodness.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if he would admit to that. He likes to keep a straight face,
Gotcha. Thank you. Ray, come on, man. Come on with it, man. What do you think about the advice for those who have a fear of intimacy and commitment?
So I can only speak from my perspective. Like, I don't like putting opinions on other people.
Okay.
Like my opinions. So for me personally, the way that I look at this is I would rather nuke this whole shit than get fucked over. Like, honestly. So for me, I'll navigate accordingly. Like, if it's not necessarily a fear of a lack of intimacy, again, it's the prisoner's dilemma. You can be as genuine as you want to be on your end. You can never control the other person. The adversary gets a say. It's just what it is. So when I look at this and I'm like, this almost seems like it's trying to create this like shame narrative. And I mean, this could go either way, because this could happen to women too, who get suckered in and dudes take advantage of them.
Right.
But also, if you're a guy, an average guy that works really hard to get his money, you make an average wage, you got an average salary and an average life, and you are entered in a woman's phone as food, and you're trying to vet for marriage. You're getting screwed. Like, you're getting the bad end of that deal. You're paying for this chick's food. She's telling you she wants to take it slow. Meanwhile, she getting her back blown out by Ron Day Day and them. And you're paying for it. And you probably paying for Ron's food too. She taking it to go on your dime.
Out there with the city boys.
Yeah. And so it's like the only solution that I've been able to factor in for this that makes it so that mentally I don't have to be out here red pill raging saying that all women ain't shit or what all women are or navigating as such is I just personally don't do anything with expectation. And what that does for me personally is it makes it easy for me to fucking walk. Like, I'm never going to allow someone to be in a position to where I feel like I owe them shit. and then if shit don't work that way, the way that I'm seeing that it needs to be working, I'll pivot and I'll just leave. And I'll be like, cool. Well, everything was so great. You're right. It was. And now it's over. Bye. Like, I don't have a sunk cost fallacy about it. It's not, oh, I sunk all this time in. I don't give a shit. Like, if I'm not going to get what I want or what I'm needing, or I feel that I'm being taken advantage of, once it gets to that point, I'm like, cool. Like, I'll end this. I'll stop this. And then I will go put that energy somewhere else. Because like you're not gonna be able to control another person. The only thing that you can do is control yourself. But like, also, if you're just out here putting all this stuff out with strings attached to it, you're setting yourself up to be extra upset, because by and large, people are shitty. Like, it's just what it is. So you can focus on that piece of it, or you can focus on going, hey, I'm going to have some really great experiences. And if somebody comes along for the ride for it, great. But if they don't, then I can have that experience. I didn't have to go do it by myself. No string attached to this. And if this person is navigating as such, like, cool, you get to fool me once and then you're out. Fine.
Indeed. Thank you, Ray. Lana,
Hey.
what's your perspective on this?
Woo.
How can people?
This is a lot. This is heavy. You know me personally. You know, I've only been dating for about, I guess, 2 years. I spent most of my time in a marriage.
Right. Welcome to the dating world.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it.
It's terrible.
Let me ask you a question. Is this something that you've experienced in your newly welcome back to the battlefield?
Okay, so I've never been exposed to the battlefield. You know, I got my first marriage. I was 22, and we dated like a year before we got married. So this is all foreign to me.
Right.
So I will say my experience over like the last 2 years, though, like I am honestly really ready to throw in the towel. I love solitude. I would just love to be married because I've experienced marriage, and I want to do it again. And you know, I want the happily ever after.
Right.
But I'm finding that there's a lot of guards up. So if I'm seeing that you have a guard, then my guard goes up, and it's just too much going on out there. I personally don't have a fear of intimacy or commitment. That's my purpose for dating, is commitment. And I love intimacy. Taking it slow is very important, because by no means I'm not the type of woman that I'm just gonna let you lay down with me and think that you're gonna walk. So I'm guarding myself. I'm guarded in that area. You have to be vulnerable in order to get someplace in a relationship. That's all I can really say to that. I try to really watch my words, because I don't want to be negative and put things in the atmosphere and say every woman's trash and every man is trash, and take in all this stuff. I feel like I'm going to guard my heart. I'm going to guard my spirit. I believe in God. I know He has something good for me. So all this stuff that we have to sift through is just, it's going to prepare me for my husband. That's the way I'm going to look at this situation.
Correct. Yeah, that's the reason why we have these shows, because we want to talk from a position of something that's normal. Because sometimes we get stuff on these shows and it's sensationalized, and we want to make sure that it's more grounded, because this is probably what you're going to face on a day-to-day basis. You know, having regular, normal people conversations versus talking points and stuff like that. But everybody has their experiences. So we want to make sure we acknowledge those, and we can learn something from everybody's experience. Now, the next thing
I've learned a lot from listening here. I'm like, wow, there's a lot.
Well, good. Now, the next slide, I want to talk about a desire for diversity and thrill. For some reason, roaching is fueled by a desire for variety and excitement in romantic experiences. Some individuals perceive exclusivity as constraining and monotonous, and therefore yearn for novelty and thrill that comes with multiple romantic options, as each might offer unique romantic experiences. While this desire for adventure is natural, roaching can be deeply hurtful to the other persons that are involved. Instead of roaching, considering exploring healthy alternatives. And these are some of the ones that they pointed out. Explore consensual non-monogamy. Basically what that means is if you're craving variety, ethical non-monogamy, monogamy, wow, may be a viable alternative. Ethical non-monogamy allows you multiple partners, but with clear communication, boundaries, and consent, ensuring that all parties are aware and comfortable with this arrangement. The research shows similar satisfaction levels for both monogamous and non-monogamous individuals. Pursue new experiences together. Instead of seeking novelty outside of the committed relationship, couples can actively pursue new experiences and adventures together. This can keep the relationship exciting and fresh without compromising on trust and commitment. Mr. Harris, let's go ahead and talk about it, sir. In this particular situation, they're giving us ways to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. They're basically focusing on transparency. What are your thoughts on the number 2 topic bullet point that we have here for desire for diversity and thrill?
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with the statement. I mean, if that's something that's necessary or needed per se, then if you and your partner can, compromise and come to an agreement, then absolutely. For me, I wave my flag still on the same things, the discipline. Yes, it gets constraining and monotonous. That's what a monogamous relationship is.
Right.
It's on us to be mature and disciplined, and again, weigh that scale of what we would be losing versus what we're chasing or trying to obtain. So, I can never concede to immature points of constraining and monotonous because yes, after 25 years, there's been some constraining moments where we all feel confined and there's been monotony, and that's that Tuesday, Wednesday I talk about, but that's what we try to make the best days. That's why we got, 7 varieties of Uno upstairs and life and, and
Right.
Clue and Fire Stick and video games and computers and all of the things, books. And, again, all we can do is try to make this family that we have a good family to be in and be around and be a part of.
Right.
And that's on us. So, I absolutely agree that it does get those things, but we as people have to understand that relationships are more than that. And I'll land my plane with this. I agree with all of that stuff. I just wish I would be able to suggest it first before the news or before an article or before a woman, because it's again the superiority, the Amazonian masterhood, because we can adopt, we can surrogate, we can foster, we can respite, we can do all of that stuff when you suggest it. But let me say, let's get that girl right there and bring her in and mold her and give her a family because she's a single mother and she needs the guy. It would be no, because I suggested it. It would be all about sex. It would be all about tangible things. Again,
Right.
this is what the West is. But if we keep going the way we going, we're gonna see single mothers rising the way it is and communities being the way they are. And all y'all gotta do is find a good family and get on board, hitch
Right.
on the caboose. Everybody don't have to be sleeping with everybody, but there are productive, positive men in these houses. They can lead you, they can help you, and you already expect their undying protection. So, how about get on board with their household and find some discipline, find some order, find some structure, even if it's in somebody else's husband? Ladies, don't let your husband or your boyfriend stop you from finding the man of your dreams. It sounds insensitive, it sounds sensational, but it's for real. It's a lot of communities that we could be building, it's a lot of families we could be having, but everybody is thinking about tangible stuff and it's stopping us from building a stronger community. Sorry for being so long-winded, and I'll land my plane right there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harris. Jenny, I see your face. What do you have for us? I was coming to you. Every time your face do that, I'm like, oh, them gears turning. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, conscious non-monogamy is just a red flag to me. It feels pointless, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I don't see why you would consider yourself in a relationship and then if you want to be non-monogamous, because there's a word for being non-monogamous, it's called dating. It's called seeing other people. It's called weighing your options. So you want the perks of saying, I have a boyfriend, making it sound like you have someone who's committed to you. But in reality, you don't have a boyfriend because your boyfriend has other women that he's talking to. So he's really not committed to you. And so I don't like that.
What about the
But
second point?
yeah, the second point is good. experiencing new things with your person, your spouse, if you're married. I think that that's really important because it's such a mindset today that you get married at the end of your life because you want to have fun and have excitement and do a lot of great cool stuff when you're young, and your husband is just going to hold you back and going to keep you down. And I just don't see how that factors in. I don't see why those things have to go hand in hand, especially with a lot of women today who work. If you both work, then you're probably going to have money, like, especially if you don't have any kids yet. If you guys are both working a full-time job, then you can afford to do nice things. Like, a friend of mine, she and her boyfriend went to Thailand for 2 weeks. And yeah, I mean, they both work full-time. So they're busy a lot, but when they go on trips, they go on trips. Let me tell you.
They use up all their PTO at one time,
Yeah,
don't
that PTO be busting.
Man, what? Thailand for 2 weeks? That's half a month.
Yes, it was crazy. She showed me all the pictures and stuff. I mean, it was great. They went to like 3 cities or whatever. Yeah. And so, yeah, and she has it with him, and hopefully they do get married so they can just add that to their long list of memories as they go older.
Right.
But I just think that, or it's like, I heard an example of this is like when people, they get married and then they get fat and sloppy, and then they get divorced, and then they get hot and get their body tight, and they, they fix themselves up to find someone new, only for when they get married again to get back fat and sloppy. And it's like, if you just keep things fresh, if you just keep things exciting the whole time, then your marriage won't ever come to an end. In the words of the great Beyonce, I'm gonna keep things right so you can never say how it used to be.
That was up. Shout out to the Queen Bee. That's right. Shout out to the Queen Bee. Y'all heard Beyonce? She said you gotta keep it tight so you can keep it right. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to worry about that. Thank you so much.
Now, I'm not one to normally quote Beyonce, but when I heard that in that song a while back, I thought, oh, that's really good. It's a good mentality to have. Right. Is that I'm not gonna just give my husband the ends of me, the crumbs of me, the last bits of me, and give everybody else the freshness of me. It's like, no, he should get something fresh and new and exciting, and I should surprise him with a gift or doing something I don't normally do. And that's how you keep your husband coming back wanting more, and that's how you keep your marriage great. So
come on back for seconds. You know what I'm saying?
Not with you.
That's right. We're gonna skip Ray because I know Ray got something ready. We're gonna slide on down to Lana, and then we're gonna finish up with Ray because I already know his gears are turning. Lana, what's your perspective on this slide? Okay, Number 2, a desire for diversity and thrill.
Yeah, I just keep looking at the bullet point that it says explore consensual non-monogamy. Who made this word up?
I didn't write it. What do you think that means? What do you think that means?
Polly?
Yeah. Jada Pinkett Smith.
Nah, man, we good.
Entanglement.
That sounds like an entanglement to me.
Yeah, no, we're not. No, none of that. But pursuing new experiences together, yes. Anything done within your relationship, fine. You should, because it's gonna get real stale if you don't explore just about anything. So, but bringing somebody else into the bedroom, no. I mean, I don't want to be catching stuff with funny names and dying from it. So I'm cool.
Right. Now, what do you think about this last bullet point? Pursue new experiences together.
Oh, I spoke on that one. Definitely pursue new experiences together. It's going to get stale really, really quick. I've been in a marriage. So, yeah, you want to keep it exciting, but you both have to be on the same page. And with that, it can't just be one person wanting to do it and the other person doesn't. So,
right. One person always making the suggestion, another one like, yeah, whatever.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Ray, showtime, sir.
Bruh. This literally every time that I've seen this explore consensual non-monogamy, bro.
Yeah.
It's been some chick that was cute. Granted, I'll give you that. That was cute. Dog walking a dude. Like I ain't never seen no dude that was like, yeah, let's explore this, that didn't get his feelings hurt. Like even if the dude could pull chicks, because the chick gets more dudes, and then he's like, oh no, my girl getting run through and I'm sad. Like this, and it's her looking for a better option, or her wanting to lock down a solid dude, but you ain't quite there yet, and she's getting flued out to get busted down and have her back broken. And she don't want to give that up until you can provide what she was already getting. That like, or in the case for dudes that set themselves up to have their feelings hurt, they didn't have access and they think they're getting a little bit of access now. And they're like, oh, I want to go explore that because dudes value hits later than women's value hits. So a woman's got access to everything basically as soon as she turns 18. Dudes don't get access to everything, or at least the maximum of what they'll have access to until much later. You're talking like 30 plus, 40 plus.
Yeah.
Like, it just is what it is. So, like, if you didn't have access early on, then, like, of course, by the time you're ready to get married, that's the reason you see these dudes that get married and then crash out. They didn't have access. And then they did. And they're like, oh, wait a second, I cashed out on the slowest moving thing I can get my hands on, and now there's all these other things out here. Like this is just base logic, and I understand that like a lot of people don't like it because I'm curt and I'm very frank with like how this shit works, but it's like if you've had access, then it's not actually that big a deal. Like you realize after you done been through X amount of chicks, so like it's all basically the same shit in a different package. Basically, more or less. Like, it's another one is another one is another one. So, like, now you're looking at somebody that you can tolerate and deal with that's not going to fuck your shit up within your house. You're not inviting assassins into the castle, basically, at this point. Like, you're finding people that you can get along with, that are good to be around, that put good energy into you, that pour into you, that actually give a shit about your momentum, your goals, where you're trying to go, and are trying to get on board to help you achieve those goals. That aside, they're really, like, realistically, after you get so much ice cream, bro, it's just ice cream. Only thing that changes is the flavor sometimes. Like,
so it was chocolate yesterday, it's vanilla today.
Facts. So, like, too much of it, you getting sick, bro. Like, you ain't gonna want no more. Like, there's only so much you can do, bro. Like, and that's one of the things. Like, I don't agree with this. Like, because like a dude, like, think about it. Think about how simple men are. If it wasn't for y'all women, every dude here would probably be outside in a tent with a heater, maybe a TV and a shack, one toilet, a spigot with some water on it, bro. We don't need much at all. 90% of the shit we have is because it's a level set expectation because of women. Like, we don't need much of anything for real. So, like, when it comes to women and like men getting along with women and like having a family and like living your life out and like creating a good existence for men, realistically, all we want some sex, we want some food, we want back scratched and a head rub.
It's been
a hug.
That got scratched, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like some of the niceness, that softness. Yes. We want to be able to lay up with somebody and just be fucking chill into that soft feminine energy. We're not trying to have somebody come in that we're gonna have to fight with every day.
That's right.
While we're going out competing with men, fighting with the world for resources because you think you got a bigger dick than we do. Like, we ain't trying to deal with that. And the amount of what we need, and like in the circles that I run in, that's the reason I tell people all the time, you got to stop focusing, zeroing in specifically on, oh, I just need to have a baddie. Most rich men don't have baddies. The ones that are actually like running the shit that you deal with. You out here talking about trying to get a club thought, and the dude that decides where you live, your kid's education, that's funding the pollution that goes into your neighborhood because you're poor and you're getting dusted on by rich people that are putting toxins in your community that aren't in their community. They ain't chasing baddies. If they want a baddie, they go rent one for the fucking weekend, and then you pay for her meal. That's how that works. That's how that works.
No.
That's how. Hey, bro, that's what it is. Because these dudes are not out here running like that.
Right.
Like,
that is hilarious.
and y'all got to get your priorities straight. Like, you guys are going after the most entitled and worst women, walking past good women that you can have a good life with because you want to zero in on changing a dog into a cat. When okay, so you might not get okay, we'll put it this way. You don't even want a 10. You don't want a 10.
10 has problems.
10 has problems.
Yeah.
You don't want a 10, but guess what? You could definitely get between a 6 and an 8.
You
5
good.
and an 8 and have a good fucking life and get your back scratched. You get some good. She gonna suck it like she means it.
Oh man.
She gonna appreciate you. She gonna appreciate you. And she, you know what? She gonna act right for the most part, most likely. But you want to go scream at 10s and be upset that the dude that's written to bust on him so that you can go buy him dinner and then lick their face after it's been skeeted on and she just wiped it off with a towel, didn't even put no soap on it, wondering why her cheek's salty.
Ooh.
You out here trying to do too much out of expectation, and you know you can't afford that car.
He doing too much.
That's we left off. It was skeet on her face, and
yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's bad, man. That's bad.
Like, you know you can't afford the maintenance on that bitch. Like, why are you playing? Like, why are you playing? You gonna be the dude that crashes out. You gonna go get yourself a Ferrari, run into one pothole, and have to go take the car back to the dealership because you can't afford to replace the rim. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Let's be honest. Are you trying to have a good life? Or are you trying to impress people on YouTube that are also lying about their lives?
As Ricky would say, they're liars. You know what I'm saying? Let me get on to the next bullet point. This is a tough one, y'all. The next bullet point is low self-esteem or insecurity. Man, this one might sting a little bit, y'all, because everybody has a little bit of insecurity. Now, research suggests that attachment insecurity and low self-esteem often drive individuals into multiple relationships, which can also explain roaching behavior. Such individuals use these relationships to bolster their self-worth, seeking validation and importance for various partners, which temporarily alleviates their insecurities. While this ensures a safety net of affection and attention, it also perpetuates emotional avoidance and prevents you from addressing underlying issues. To address this, consider these two healthy alternatives. Solutions, y'all. Build your self-confidence. Invest time in building your self-confidence through self-care, self-improvement, and self-compassion. I mean, be easy on yourself, man. Engage in activities that make you feel good about yourself or seeking therapy to address underlying self-esteem issues and focus on personal growth. Seek validation from within rather than seeking validation from multiple partners. Work on validation and self-worth from within. Learn to appreciate your unique qualities and strengths without relying solely on external validation. Man, I know that's a mouthful, but I see your gears turning, Mr. Harris. I'm going to slide down to Jenny this time. Then I'm going to come back to you, then Lana, then Ray. Jenny, what do you think about this?
I think this is interesting. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I don't know. I guess I would like to see like who wrote this, because I feel like the term insecurity gets thrown around a little bit too much.
Right.
Like women, like these modern women, like we saw earlier, they'll use that term as a weapon against men who just set boundaries and just kind of
wrote it. Mark Forbes.
Oh,
Mark Travers, Forbes magazine. This is from October the 14th.
Oh, okay. So this is a man who wrote this.
Yeah,
okay.
Man wrote it.
Interesting.
You know, I'm gonna always put my footnotes down and point my research. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do my work now, so I'm gonna show my work. So go ahead.
Yeah, you don't just pull stuff out of your hat. You actually, you come with the receipts. I can appreciate
Right.
that. Okay, so being a man wrote this, I find that interesting. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that building self confidence is good. But see, like I was saying, when it comes to men, like a man, he'll build his self confidence and he'll seek his own validation from within, and he'll get to a point where he's like, yeah, I feel like I make a good amount of money. I feel like I look good enough. I feel like I'm in a good enough spot in my life that I'm gonna start expecting X, Y, and Z from women. Oh boy, they don't want that.
Right.
That is the last thing they want you to do.
You know
Is
what I
actually
think? I think men think that if you get your life together, you automatically supposed to get the woman of your dreams. And sometimes that's not always the case. You can do all the work in the world and still not get the woman of your dreams. Do you find that to be the same thing?
I think it depends on what you mean. Because like Ray was saying, like a lot of men they chase these women purely off of aesthetics, and to that extent, I would say, yeah, a man could work his whole life and never be able to bag a Naomi Campbell,
Right.
but if you have the right dreams, I guess you could say, like what is the woman of your dreams? If the woman of your dreams is something that looks like she was just she was just taken out of a plastic box, then
Right.
you might not be able to ever get her, no matter how hard you work. But if your dream woman is the kind of woman that is loyal and is friendly and is submissive and is caring, and you guys are on the same page with your values, then absolutely, those kind of women are not are still around. They're still here. I'm only 25, so they're still around.
That's right.
um, and that can be attained, with hard work and effort, because there are enough of them out there. If a man is, he's exceeded and he's worked on himself, and he's really become a man of stature and a man that commands respect, then women who can respect him and women who are interested in that kind of lifestyle, they will find him, and he will find those women. They might not look, like Beyonce or what have you. They might, like Ray was saying, you might have to settle for a 6, but beauty is a
Is
short-lived
is
tyranny
6 really
anyway.
settling though? We all about
Right.
average. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but I think like if a man starts to succeed and the pendulum starts to swing where he's
Right.
like, yeah, now I deserve a 10. Now I deserve X, Y, and Z. And so he starts to get that inflated ego like the women used to have when they were in their 20s and they were hot and all that stuff.
Right.
Then he can start to get an unrealistic view of what he can attain.
Right.
But yeah, a guy who is, he made it to where he's the franchisee, or if a guy is the head, if he's the supervisor, or if he is the owner, or if he has his own business, he could get a really nice woman who looks really normal and is going to treat him great, and she's going to love him, and she's going to give him 2.5 kids, and they can ride off into the sunset.
Well, she gonna cut one in half?
Ooh, poor baby.
So
Oh,
yes. Yeah, I think that if a guy, if he stays humble to an extent, and he keeps his expectations realistic, then yeah, he can work hard enough and he can get to the point where he can get any woman that he wants, and he would definitely be the prize, and he would be the catch, and he'll have the advantage and the upper footing in that situation.
Right. Thank you, Jenny. Mr. Harris, I know you're over there taking notes, sir. What's your perspective, sir?
I'll be quick on this one. Practice. I'm a sports person, so low self-esteem, insecurity that comes along with the territory. So practice. There's always somebody out there better than you. You wake up at 5, somebody wakes up at 4:59. So when you practice, you get better. When you get better, it builds confidence. So
Absolutely.
practice. Self-validation. Practice on your strengths. Practice on listing your strengths and self-reflect. Again, open and honest. You got to be honest with yourself to know what your credits are, what your strengths are, but repeat, just like rinsing and washing, repeat. Focus on your positives, focus on your strengths, and repeat. Hopefully that should build, low self-esteem a little higher, and you can incrementally increase and insecurity. So, it's always possible. Any habit can be built in 90 days. So, do the work.
Absolutely. I agree with you, sir. Thank you so much for your guidance and your wisdom, sir. Lana, what's your perspective on this last one? You on mute.
I said, first and foremost, we have to realize that we all have insecurities, and you just have to be honest with yourself about what your insecurities are. But once you put yourself in a situation where you feel like you have to prove yourself, I think that's when your insecurities are perpetuated. So never put yourself in a position where you're out here, you're posting like crazy on social media, you're out here on this dating site, you're feeling like dating scene, you feel like you have to say a certain thing or act a certain way or look a certain way because this is what everybody else is doing. If you do that, you're not going to attract what's really for you. You're going to attract what was for somebody else, and it's not going to be lasting. So just be true to yourself and be patient.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Absolutely.
Well said,
said.
Lana.
Well said.
Well said.
Ray, thoughts? I know you're real big on self improvement. So go ahead and tell us.
I mean, even when I didn't have the best self-esteem, I didn't have time to go be in multiple relationships. Like it seems like a waste of time unless you're stupid to me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm gonna assume that, like, if that's the way you're navigating, actually, I can go from context because I've seen men who do this. So I do have context, and guess what? They're fucking losers at life. So, like, I mean, every man that I know that navigates like this, specifically with men, is a fucking loser. They're broke. They're not getting ahead in life. They're in the same position repeatedly. They're normally on psychiatric meds, just like modern women. Their heads aren't together. They can't manage on their own. They can't go out here and raw dog life. They've got to be constantly incubated, neutered, chemically altered. And they run around acting like fucking animals. like, which is okay. Like, that's cool, but like, what does that yield? I look at results. Like, I don't, if that's the game that you've set for yourself, then you are a loser. You're a loser at life because that's a very vapious game. That's like people who want to talk to people who have money and be like, well, I'm happier than you. You can't fucking measure happiness. It's vapious. It's moving the goalpost so that you can win at something so you can get your fucking participation trophy while you can't buy food, live in a house by yourself, or sustain your fucking existence because you can't figure shit out in the real world. But you're happy. Have fun being poor. Have fun starving. Enjoy it. Big smile. Great. No one cares. Like, this concept of like you're going to validate yourself by things that I mean, I guess if you can measure partners. So like at least it's something measurable. Like, I got more chicks than you. Okay, we can count them. Okay. Okay. But the subjectivity is this. We always talk about what's a 10. Completely subjective. It's the same fucking thing as saying you're happy. Oh, well, I think this. You could have a panel full of 10 men, and like, granted, there's going to be some women that are just classically beautiful that we'll all agree on. But when it comes down to individual taste and what each man likes, totally subjective.
Right.
Not even a talking point. So technically speaking, if you got 10 women in your roster that I wouldn't fuck them with your dick.
What?
Then is that a good roster for me? I'm not impressed. like I'm sitting here trying to piece together why you banging these chicks down, and you talking about I got 10. Like, oh, okay, bro. Like, cool. It's a cool story.
10 of what? You know?
Right. You got 10 of the oyster girl. You got 10 slurping right. Wildebeest over there that you gotta feed. Now we know why you're broke. Like, that's an expensive habit, bro. You've been better off going and buying a damn lion if you're gonna be feeding bitches like that. Lions are cool.
You get bit.
Like, that's impressive. So yeah, I mean, it's a very low vibration, low energy, low IQ argument, and it's something that moves the goalpost from what's actually wrong with you, because something is wrong at this point. It's like, why aren't you moving forward in life? Oh, I got these girls. Like, okay, but like your bank account's zero still. You live at your mom's basement, and like you got no plans to move forward. You're not helping the family. You're being a drain on the people that created you. You're a man child.
But that basement.
Oh, but I got 10 bitches.
Right,
like,
that basement is comfortable, man. You know, it's cozy.
You know?
You got your own bed. You know,
I bet it is.
lights.
Yeah,
you know?
what happens when they die from having to support your ass because of the extra stress? They're gonna die to get away from you. It's actually not death, it's suicide. Like, they was willing that shit because you're annoying and they hate you and they can't get rid of you because they made you. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to have my parents die early to get away from my ass. Like, that's a different level of fucking annoying.
I think in certain situations like that, parents keep guys around to not admit their failure in not raising them sometimes, so they kind of hide them in the basement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I mean, you got to
come out, man. You got to come out the basement at some point. Get out in the real world, man, and get yourself a wife and raise you some kids. You know what I'm saying? That's what we all here for, man. To have families and to be productive individuals in society. So in conclusion, understanding the motivations being behind roaching in a relationship is crucial for individuals to engage in this behavior and their potential partners. By recognizing the underlying reasons, individuals can work toward healthier bonds and that promote trust, communication, and emotional well-being. It's essential to prioritize honesty, self-growth, healthy communication, and build fulfilling, sustainable connections with others. If you guys want to find this article, I'm gonna pin it to pin it to the stream after we're done. I just want y'all to see it ahead of time. It was by Forbes magazine by a gentleman by the name Mark Travers. And if you can find it in Forbes on October the 14th. So this is something recent. I like to give y'all recent stuff. I don't want to give y'all something from, 65, you know what I mean? Something that doesn't even apply to what's going on today. I want to give y'all something that's relevant. And I think this month is relevant as it can get. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go ahead and give that to you. David, there's a video that I want to show everybody. And if I'm not mistaken, it is the next one under Jada. And I'm going to show y'all, this is what we need to do. Sometimes we get into situations and we don't really recognize behaviors in our partners and we don't necessarily know the name of it. All of us didn't go to psychology class. You know what I mean? All of us are not exposed to that level of information. So anytime I run across something that will help you recognize something in advance or call you back to a time where you were trapped in a situation, I want to make sure I arm you with information to help you, whether you're a man or a woman. Our goal is to make sure that we have healthy relationships. You know what I'm saying? Because we're better together than we are apart. David, go ahead and load that first video up. And then after that, I'm going to show y'all the analysis of what this, of what we see. Now, we're not poking fun at Jada. We're using Jada as an avatar. I just want to make sure we put that out there. I don't want anybody to say you bashing women. No, we're just using this as an example because somebody draw into it. So let's go ahead and pull that. Go ahead and blow that up, David.
Okay. I am. Except you're not sometimes. Yeah.
Narcissists engage in a confusing form of self-expression called equivocation. Equivocation is using ambiguous language and positioning to conceal the truth. It's playing both sides of the fence. You see, if I say I'm this and I'm that, then I can't ever be totally wrong. Because if that is in, then I say, yeah, I was that. And if this is in, then I say, I've been told you I was that. So that's how you can be a straight talker that's also not sometimes. So that's how you can be married for 26 years, but not have been together for the last 7 years, but not divorced, just separated, but living together, just living separate. If it seems confusing, it's meant to be. The overt narcissist who is slipstreaming or riding on the coattails of their host is hoping to get the opportunity to come out in front but they don't know when that opportunity will come. So they're going to need to play both sides of the fence. So at times they're going to need to be able to say, hey, yeah, we're married when that host is doing really well. Hey, we're together. This is a we thing. But when that host has lost public favor, then this is your opportunity to get out in front and then use the other side of your equivocation and say, actually, we've never been together. We haven't been together the whole time. I don't know what that was about. Yet I can't leave because of a promise that I made. When a man is married to a covert narcissist, there won't be the outward signs of abuse that you would see in typical narcissistic abusive relationships. It will just feel to the man like, I can't seem to make her happy. Why is my wife always upset? It's got to be me. So that man will double down and invest harder and invest harder and work harder. And the covert narcissist is now weaponizing that man's integral system to always succeed, his inner drive to never fail against him, so that it leads him to burn himself out and self-destruct. So when a man feels like he can get everything from anyone, he can get love and admiration from everyone except this one woman, it causes him to hyper-focus on what is wrong, what is inadequate about him, that he is unable to extract affection and love and happiness from this one person, not knowing that it's a covert narcissist who can never be pleased. And that's what makes him give up the world, turn in his superpower as an effort, a last bid to extract a moment of peace and happiness, to become the hero in her eyes once again, just for a moment, for her to look at him with the glisten and say, I feel something for you. You are finally good enough.
David, do me a favor, run the other video because it actually sets this one up, the one that was right before that one. Because I'm going to give everybody an example of what he was talking about. We kind of played them out of order. The one with the interviewer and Jada.
I feel like you're a straight talker,
I am.
except you're not sometimes.
Yeah.
So why do that? What was the reason?
I think just not being ready yet. Still trying to figure out between the two of us
Yeah.
how to be in partnership, right? And in regards to how do we present that to people, you know? And we hadn't figured that out.
Why did the relationship fracture?
Oh, why it fractured? That's a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think by the time we got to 2016, we were just exhausted with trying. I think we were both kind of still stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person should be.
Jada says she considered a legal divorce, but could never go through with it.
I made a promise that there will never be a reason for us to get a divorce. We will work through whatever. And I just haven't been able to break that promise.
But you still live separately.
We live separately.
All right. Thank you, David. Mr. Harris, what are your thoughts on this situation? You saw both videos. You saw what he explained, and you saw Jada's response in this particular situation when he's talking about narcissistic equivocation. What's your thoughts on this particular situation? That's our new term for today, narcissistic equivocation, for those who are following home on your trauma bingo card. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I almost got bingo. I need a couple more. But
you need gaslighting for your bingo.
I mean, it's something when you see it all. For me, overall, technically versus theoretically is what I get from it. You know, there's always gonna be a technical situation and then a theoretical one, and you got to pick out the finer pieces or the gray area, so to speak. Plausible deniability comes to mind when we can just say I didn't know, and just horrible when it comes to a relationship. Last Boy Scout is a movie, 90s. His name was Joe Hellenbeck in that movie. That was Bruce Willis. And there was
Right.
a line in there. They said every lie has 80% truth in it. And it's really hard to figure out which is which, but in these days and times when everybody's speaking like a politician, you got to be able to pick out the truth from the lie, eat what you need and spit out what you don't.
Right.
And in the case of Jada Pinkett and Will Smith, he can't live up to a martyr. Whatever he does, no one can live up to a martyr. A martyr is a powerful thing because they dead. So good luck with that, Will. She mentioned a partnership. That's what I'll be talking about right there. That's going to be hard to figure out because some days you may be 51% of stockholder, and another day we may sign it over and you 49. That partnership don't work. We husband and wife until we something different. And you young guys, you young ladies, good luck with calling it something other than what it is, a marriage and a husband and a wife. Expectations, personally, I don't have them. I don't think anybody should, because expectations leave room for letdown. You have the right to expect what you want, but they don't have the right to play into your expectations. And lastly, she said, that was a promise that she couldn't break, but she broke a bunch of other ones. So, for me, it's crazy to hear people, again, be politicians. They do the worst and say I'm sorry. And like Starbucks, we just supposed to come back and buy the coffee again for $7. And for me, I'm a New Yorker. It just don't fly like that. If you were lame last week, you lame this week, and you probably gonna be lame next week. It just doesn't change like that for us. So, we stand firm on what we say and what we believe. It might not be, the most palatable, and it might come off a little unique, but we always willing to backtrack, apologize, curtail, or even, change our position with new information. So we're always going to have that stance. Jada Pinkett is always going to have her stance and her approach to things, and I just think it's rather unique. But great information, great dialogue, and I appreciate you guys for having me.
Thank you so much. Jenny, in this particular situation, you saw both videos. What's your thoughts on narcissistic equivocation?
Well, some more verses came to mind, so I have two more to lay on you guys. And so the first one is Matthew 5:37, which says, "But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, for whatsoever is more than these come of evil." And so what that's saying is that, let your communication be yes, yes, or no, no, not yes and no and yes, and just a little bit of everything and just going back and forth. And so to back that up, James chapter 1, verse 8 says, "A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways." And I don't think anybody would disagree that Jada Pinkett Smith is unstable. So, yeah, I think that it's really unfortunate. Well, I go back and forth about how I feel about Will in the scenario, because we all agree that Jada is bad and that she's just the curse of a wife that you would get. It's like what kind of skeletons does Will Smith have in his closet that he was so cursed with having Jada as his wife? But it's like I go back and forth about whether or not I feel like he is a victim or not, because it's like, yeah, he's married to a narcissist, but he's willingly married to her. And I'm not an advocate for divorce, but I think that people like that, they show their colors pretty early on. And like I heard her on her Red Table Talk say that she didn't even want to get married. She only got married because she was pregnant or something, or her mom told her to. And it's like, she doesn't seem like the kind of person that would be able to hide the fact that she is just very unpleasant and not wife material. So I don't know why Will Smith would even go into the marriage in the first place with her. If he was just one of these men that saw the red flags in his wife and continued to go along with it anyway because of how beautiful he thought that she was, then he's not a victim. You know, if anything, he's just a victim of his poor choices, which, you know, does not make you a real victim. And so there's that. Or it's like, you know, did she really deceive him into thinking that she was someone who was great and lovely? I mean, I guess J. Cole was deceived too, but, you know, he didn't know her personally, you know, when he said, I want that Jada and I will love.
Right.
But I don't know. I go back and forth about that. But Jada Smith as a whole, I think that she, like that girl in the Cheesecake Factory video, Jada Smith is like a blueprint of what you don't want in a wife and what you should be avoiding as a man. Characteristics, mentality, attitude, demeanor, physical appearance. So yeah, when it comes to her, it's just like everything, pretty much everything that we hear coming out of her mouth, every new revelation that is coming out about her, is just backing up the fact that, you know, men need to be a lot more wary and a lot more cautious about the women that they pick, because it's not just a matter of, oh, she could take all my stuff and leave me, or take half my stuff and leave me. You know, she could stay with you and just drag you down for the rest of your life. And so it's a minefield out here. And so, men, you guys gotta be on your toes, because these women, they're crafty, they're deceitful, and they're looking to snag someone up.
Absolutely. You know, men come in Jada flavor too.
Yeah.
Trust, I've had several conversations with some of my female friends, and they've told me about some Jada flavored men that they've dealt with too, you know, doing the same thing. So that's the reason why I pulled this up. But the only reason I use Jada is because Jada is what's current right now, and that's what everybody's visible on. It could have been anybody else. I just want everybody to realize I'm not picking on Jada. I'm just using her as an example that everybody could relate to. Lana, in this particular situation, what are your thoughts on
This
both
one struck
videos?
this one struck a nerve with me, because I do know some people personally who have been victims of narcissistic abuse.
Okay.
And I'm glad that you did point out that, you know, it's on both sides. There are women narcissists and there are men narcissists. I used to really feel sorry for the quote unquote empath, but I realized that the empath does play off the narcissist. The relationship's very interesting. They both really need each other, and that's why they can't seem to pull themselves away from one another. And if you really, really analyze it, they both have mental health issues. They're both victims and don't know how to pull themselves away. That's ultimately the issue. They both have very, very low self-esteem, but the narcissist has, they mask their low self-esteem with this grandiose behavior. And that really is, if you really, really look at it closely, that's all that you're really dealing with.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you
You're
for that
welcome.
information. Ray, coming to you. What's your thoughts on both videos?
I hate this woman.
We're not gonna make it about Jada herself. We're gonna use her.
I'm just saying, like, I don't like people with that attitude. Like, I lived with somebody who was very narcissistic for probably 4 years. Was one of my really good friends. And honestly, it's great people watching. Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, they will literally just take people and dismantle them into mush and then rebuild them in their image like a Marine drill sergeant. And you know, it's one of those things. Like, they find mentally weak people. Like, it's like moths to flames. Like, if you are mentally weak, you will run into one of these people. They will get in your head and just destroy you. And like, the thing that's interesting is, and it's one of the contextual pieces that people leave out, is narcissists don't just do this to people that they're in relationship with. They literally do it to everyone. Like, they can't help themselves. Like, they have to assert their like mental dominance on everyone around them. So like, when it comes to like their friend circle, like this person in particular, like, he tried to do that shit with me one time, and I was like, bro, we need to step outside. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, no. I was like, if you really feel that way, bro, we need to go throw these hands real quick so I can show you exactly where you sit in this pecking order. We're men. Like, I'm not one of you little bitches. And like, after we had that conversation, never did it to me again, but like, he would do it to anyone that was around him, period. And he'd be like, cool, I'm going to dominate you because I can. And I'm going to dominate you because I can. And like, he just stopped doing it to me after I told him. I was like, bro, I will beat your ass before I let you fucking think you got any type of leverage over me. Like, you better be able to take me outside and beat me up, bro. That's the only win you're going to find over here. But, you know, it's, I always tell people, if you keep finding yourself running into the same scenario or the same set of circumstances over and over and over again, you are part of the problem. Like, that's also you. I've never had an issue with like a narcissistic woman or person, period, because if it's a dude, like I said, like we can step outside. But in regards to like in a relationship, like no, like I'm not doing that. Like when it gets to that level, and like me personally, I like to end things before I have to have something bad to say about you. To be honest, I'm like, if this isn't getting better, then I'm going to take the good memories that we have and we'll cut it off here where it's like, mostly good stuff, got a little bit weird, and you got up out of here before it's like, I hate this person. Look what they did to me. Like it just like, my brain's just not built for that. Like I don't gravitate towards that. But what everybody said about Will in this situation is 100% correct. Cause like, you ain't riding out this long, letting this woman just sit around in the background, waiting to turn into a demon once you fall off your square a little bit, getting dog walked apparently every which way with your business public, and not having a part in that. And, you know, like and like I've heard random stuff, like there's something going on in the background, whatever. Like, I don't care. You're a man. Take your L and walk. Cause like, this is a perfect cautionary tale of like what happens if you don't take the L and walk. Now look at him. I can't get out. Let me like now you're just getting professionally embarrassed every which way for a book that flopped. Didn't even help. And here we are. Like you've got to be able to cut bait. And like if you can't cut bait and leave when the situation calls for it, then you have to assess why. Like, why can't you leave? Like, what's the issue with you walking away from a relationship? Like,
let me ask you a question. Do you think he's a victim of his own ego? You know what I'm saying? Saying that I can be in a relationship and it not fail, or I can do all these other things and it not fail. And his ego is what's trapping him in this particular situation. Or do you really think that he believes that he can make this work forever?
At this point, I would say that he has the delusion of a modern woman, if that's the case, because it's not working. Like, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, she done had you on TV crying about her banging your kid's friend, your kid. Like, what part of their relationship is functional? And what part? Like, what measurable metric could you rationalize and be like, yep, this part works? Like, at this point, it's literally nothing. So basically, you sitting in a house that's on fire trying to act like that it's not on fire, even though you dying from smoke inhalation. Like, I don't see how he could think that you can fix it. This has been over a decade's worth of like, this ain't working. You're just not signing the paperwork, which, to the credit, I mean, you could look at the older generations. I mean, in my family, my grandmother and grandfather were separated, but they never filed the paperwork. But they also didn't live together. They lived in different states away. Like they're away from each other, at least. But like, they didn't sign the paperwork. They never officially filed paperwork. So I guess if you're looking at it from that old school principle, he's like, I don't want to file. Okay, but like, get her up out your house, bro. Like, go ahead and be separated then and live that life. But they chose to lie. They chose to be deceitful. They chose to pretend. And look at the more you stuff that stuff under the rug, the more you don't look at the dragon, the bigger it gets. And now that mug is just flying around the planet roaring loudly. Because they didn't do what was necessary. If you don't want to file the paperwork, that's fine. But like, at that point, y'all are roommates and both of them have money and both of them can afford to have their own place, like, why y'all living together? Y'all ain't homosexuals. Like, what are we doing? Like, there's other ways that could have been handled that wouldn't have turned into this, even if they didn't want to go through the proper channels and actually nullify the marriage. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Well, you know what? I just want to make sure that we give everybody a little information that they can use when in these streets, trying to understand people. We don't want to just throw people on the bus and say they're not fixable, because we can all learn and we can all grow. So that's my thing. That's right. R.I.P. KS. You know what I'm saying? We actually doing the work, and I think he'll be proud that we're actually having real conversations these days. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go ahead and wrap everything up. I'm going to y'all to give y'all final thoughts on what you've learned tonight. And and also let everybody know how they can find you. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Harris, and then Jenny, then Ray, and then Lana. And then we'll wrap everything up.
I won't be long at all, man. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure, you know that. And Mrs. Jenny, the lovely Lana, you ladies were a pleasure. Ray, always a pleasure, brother. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like you said, man, we are better together, and we all have work that we can do. We concentrate on specific areas, but it's not relegated to one gender or another. We all have work that we can do. So, you know, self-reflect, self-correct, do the work, because you're worth it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Harris. And thank you for tell Mrs. Harris, thank you for letting us borrow you for the evening. And we miss her. Tell her we thank you. And also, Miss Jenny, go ahead. What are your final thoughts? And tell the people how they can find you.
Okay. Trying to rethink everything that we talked about. I think that overall, it's important to be intentional about what you're doing, especially when it comes to dating. And so if you're intentional, then you're not going to end up talking to yourself in some ratchet girl's DMs. If you're intentional, you're not going to end up going on a date with somebody who thinks that they're too good for Cheesecake Factory. If you're intentional in your dating, you're going to be able to weed out a lot of the roaches. And so you have to know what you want. You have to be able to stand on what you say that you want and what you claim that you want. And, you know, by doing that, you're going to avoid a lot of the headaches and the heartaches that come along with dating. And so I consider myself an online missionary. I have my own channel where I talk about a lot of things in the Christian perspective. And it's, you know, Miss Jenny R. Jones. And that's where you can find me. Otherwise, you can find me on Chaotic Reacts, or you can find me on Black Man Unfiltered on Saturday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thank you so much, Jenny. We appreciate you for coming out, and tell your husband thank you for allowing us to borrow you this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now on to Lana Love. Lana, what are your thoughts from tonight, and what did you learn? And tell the people how they can find you.
Boy, it was like drinking a super big gulp from 7-Eleven.
Big gulp.
Y'all know about 7-Eleven?
Yeah.
Cali. I don't know if they have. All right. That's what we had tonight. But first and foremost, Jared, I want to thank you for bringing me on the show. I know people know you as Lost. I know you as Jay. I want to say thank you. I was thinking, I did take some notes. Work on yourself, you guys. You know, after my divorce, I spent time working on me, right? Before I even decided. Actually, it was a relative that had to kind of push me on out there, because I began to enjoy my solitude so much that a relationship was not important to me. And I think that's when you're going to be truly ready, right? You got to get to that place first. In the discussion, I kept hearing, I've been ruminating on this all week, because my mentor told me, you always count yourself, because you can't fix nobody else. You can only fix you. So if you're focusing on you, everything else will fall in place. And it does take a lot of patience. Pray before you go into anything. I am a believer, so I can't just leave God out of these discussions. Before I came on today, I made sure I prayed, because I wanted to honor God with my mind and my mouth. And I wanted to make sure that when I spoke, that I was able to reach people from a godly place, because that's the place that, you know, he's my source. I'm gonna leave it at that. Everybody don't believe on the Lord. You know, we got different religions, and that's fine, different faiths, but that's my source. So I'm gonna pray before going into situations. If you're a believer, I suggest that you let God into all areas of your life. I also was thinking during my time of healing, I knew I needed to get myself together before going into another relationship. I always knew that I would want to get married again. And two gentlemen that I listened to and I played over and over and over again, outside of talking to you, Jay, because Jay has been a mentor to me. He has been there through some things. You know what? The title today was T. He got the T on me, but he's always been that mentor. He's always been that place. In addition to R.C. Blake's, I probably wore his YouTube channel out. Tony Gaskins, I wore his YouTube channel out. And the Bible. Yes, I read the Bible a lot. You know, I spent a lot of time with God. One of my favorite movies was War Room. And I actually created me one. And I spent a lot of time in that place getting me together. So we can always kind of look at the outside world and see things just crumbling, you know, not right. It can harden your heart and make it hard to let somebody into your life. But you got to work on you. You got to have faith. And first of all, you just got to believe, you know what I mean? Which you see. If you're a believer, it's not about what you see. You think about the unseen. If you're looking for a mate, it's out there. And don't let social media and all these videos that you see disturb you. And I know that was a little choppy, but I think y'all get the point. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. You get sprinkles too. How about that? Next and last but not least, Mr. Ray De Niro. Ray, what are your perspectives, man, on tonight's topic? And let the people know how they can find you, sir.
So my perspective on this is you gotta do the work. You get to pick your hard. You get to have a hard life. You get to have a hard existence. Or you can do the work beforehand and you can have a good, decent, acceptable in the eyes of whatever you believe in life. It's our job to be the best version of ourselves. And I believe that as a society, specifically in the West, we have fallen short of that. Our ancestors are upset with us. Your gods are upset with you. I mean, in some cases, your gods don't even like you. Because if you're a reflection of them, then that's pretty pathetic. So you get to pick your hard. You're going to have a hard existence, or are you going to do the work? Those are the options. Those are the only two options. And in reality, like if you break this down to brass tacks, you either do the work up front or you pay for it later. Those are the options. Those are the only options that you're afforded. You're not entitled to anything. And a lot of the information that was given tonight was solid. Like some of y'all need to take notes. If you find yourself falling into these pitfalls, you need to take the notes, make the adjustments, and better yourselves. You should be bettering yourself anyway, but like if you find yourself hitting the same wall again with your face is going to break before that wall do. So you should probably make the adjustment before you break your face. I'm Reckless Ray De Niro. You can find me at Reckless Ray De Niro over on YouTube, Instagram, pretty much wherever you punch that in, you'll be able to look me up. Tap in. We talk about money. We trying to fix your bank account. I believe that's the source root of most of your problems. That and then your bodies. So,
indeed. Thank you, Ray. Tonight, I want to talk to you guys. I want to thank my guests for coming out. You guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you guys decided to come hang out with us tonight. And I really do appreciate your time. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Thank you, Mrs. Jenny. Thank you, Ray. And thank you, Lana Love. But I want to give somebody a special credit tonight. Wife School Podcast, I know you're probably watching. This was born out of a private conversation that we had about protecting your own tea. And we kind of fleshed this thing out. So I wanted to make sure we give her flowers, because that's what happens when you have these honest conversations from time to time. And I want to make sure we give her a shout out. I want to also shout out Black David in the back. I know you're watching, sir. Without you, we couldn't have ran this thing as smoothly as possible. I want to thank you for giving up your time with your family tonight. And also want to thank everybody in the chat. You know what I mean? A lot of times we have situations where we come on YouTube and we don't always necessarily get what we need. But over here, I want to make sure that we give you answers to the questions that you need. I want to let y'all know that this is just the first video in a series that we're working on called Make Love Great Again. Tonight, we discussed about the beginning parts of a relationship. And then next week, we're going to talk about what happens after I do. You know what I'm saying? What happens after, you know, the cake has already been cut. You know what I'm saying? And the family members have gone home and it's after the honeymoon. Well, guess what? What comes next? You know, we're going to talk about kids. We're going to talk about relatives. We're going to talk about bills, finances, expectations. We want to make sure we arm you guys with the things that you need. Tonight was just the beginning, and I would love for you guys to come back. We're going to be out here every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. We're not going to keep you guys long because I value your time. And I know some of y'all got to get back to work. And I just want to thank everybody for coming out. You know what? I want to also give a shout out to Sir Hale for giving me the green light to host Super Sunday over here on my channel, to make sure that I continue the work. I want to give a shout out to SB. You know what I mean? SB be giving out folks shout outs. I want to give a shout out to her. Ladies, if you want to go out and you want to find out how to be a wife, y'all go over there and check out SB. You know what I mean? Also check out Mrs. Harris over here at the Harris Tribe Media. You know what I mean? She be talking about that shame. Ain't that right, Mr. Harris? Yes, sir. And also I want to talk about Take Heed to the Message. She's out here putting in the work as well, too. Also, I'm going to give a shout out to my main man, Sir Hale Speaks, and also my boy over here, Black Man Unfiltered. I want to thank him for giving me the chops and the skills to do what we do every single day. Remember, guys, if you haven't, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe. And also, next time when you come back, bring a friend. You know what I mean? I know we saw a whole lot of new faces tonight. We want to make sure we control and we make sure that we grow this community. Remember, this is not my channel. This is our channel. So if you guys have anything you want to talk about, make sure you hit up on the community tab or also leave a comment in the comment section below. We'll make sure that we get that going. And until then, thank you guys for coming out for another version of Super Sunday with Lost in Translation Podcast. You guys have a wonderful evening, and thank you for coming out. Peace.